Real guys, real sport, Bar TV.
Good afternoon and welcome to Harker Oval on a gorgeous Sunday afternoon, and we're here for the major semi-final in the 2015 Newcastle Rugby League. Western Suburbs up against Lakes United here today, and it should be an absolute cracker. The winner of today's game goes through to the grand final. The loser, well, they've got a big banana skin ahead of them. They've got to play Macquarie next week at Central. So it's a very big occasion indeed for both these sides, and my name's Morgan Campbell, and I'm joined by Josh Leeson to take you through it. Good afternoon, Josh. Who do you fancy today and why?
Afternoon, Morgan, and afternoon to everyone back at home or wherever you are listening. Mate, probably at Harker Oval, I'm going to go West today. I just think the way West played in that final game against Central, they really looked like they got back to their best. I think all year they've sort of been cruising a little bit. I've been a little bit, haven't been totally convinced about how well they were playing. I thought defensively they've been good all year, but their attack hasn't really gelled. But I thought that game against the Butcher Boys, they really looked on song and really looked hungry. But as you know, Lakes have won twice against West this year, so they're certainly capable of a big upset and getting through to that grand final.
Yeah, Lakes have been very good in the big games, haven't they? They knocked over Cessnock a couple of weeks ago in a big clash, and they've beaten West twice. So they've certainly got the confidence going into the game. But you're absolutely right. West at Harker Oval is always going to be tough. And the last time West weren't in the grand final was 2010. So they would have to be confident here today of getting through. We might run through the sides, Josh, if you like, if you could take us through the Western Suburbs side.
Okay, number one, the fullback is Justin Smith. On the wings, we have Ryan Lamb and Callan Richardson. In the centres, we have Jermaine Ale and Simon Williams. Of course, Steve Gordon is serving a one-match suspension for a knee. In the halves, it's Joel Brown in the number 6, and number 7 is Jade Porter. Captaining the side in number 8 is Mark Tafua. He's joined by Ryan Pedro in the front row. At hooker is Chris Knight. 11 is Peter Mannion. 12 is Matt Herman. And 13 is Warren Shillings. And on the bench, we have Reg Saunders in 14, 15 Cole Clark, 16 Michael Hendry, and number 17 is David Dryden.
Well, for Lakes United, the fullback, number 1, Jack Mackin. On the wings, 2, Matt Craig, and 5, James Varker. Number 3 in the centres is Josh Charles. Number 4, Marcel Ikanofo. The halves, 6, Jay Sullivan, and 7, Brad Murray. The 8 is Hayden Jeans, and the 10, Casey Burgess in the front row. In the 9, at hooker, and the captain is Chris Adams. The back row, 11, Dylan Harton, 12, Rob Mason, and 13, Josh Hayes. And on the bench, 14, James DeSax, 15, Ben Sams, 16, Callan Adams, and 17, Tim Harlow. Just a few number changes there on the bench, just to confuse commentators and ground announcers alike. Well, all is in readiness here. As I mentioned before, it's a beautiful day. The ground looks in decent condition, a bit dusty up both ends of the field, and I don't think I'd want to be batting on that cricket pitch, but there's plenty of time until the cricket season as well. But yes, all is in readiness. There's a big crowd in here today. Probably the most challenging day to get a park at Harker Oval this season so far. And yes, it's going to be a big one. Who are the key players, do you think, today, Josh, for both sides?
Well, as far as Lakes go, it's obviously going to be the hooker, Chris Adams, and the halfback, Brad Murray. They've both been excellent all year. I think it's pretty evident they've both been the two signings of the season as far as any club's concerned. They've been great all year, so they're going to be massive today. For West, I really think their centre pairing of Simon Williams and even Jermaine Ale who's been out of the side a little bit this year. I mean, they're very strong in the outside backs, a lot of attacking threat. And probably in the forward pack, you've got Peter Mannion and Warren Shillings. Shillings came close to winning the Best and Fairest medal the other day, but lost to Chris Adams. So he's going to be also a massissive player in this game, I suspect.
You think that's about fair? Warren Shillings and Chris Adams, the two best players in the real NRL this year?
Definitely, yeah. I think Chris Adams has been an absolute revelation down at Belmont this year. He's always been a good player, but I think he's really taken his play to another level in the local comp. And Warren Shillings he's a tough, hard footballer. He's probably pulled out a few victories for West this year, to be honest. So great.
all is in readiness here. And this is a very important game because I don't think, after yesterday, I don't think either of these sides will really fancy playing Macquarie. They're an unpredictable side. They've got a lot of attacking flair, and they could be a real banana peel.
Well, you've got to think, Macquarie, as everyone knows, have had that massive semi-final hoodoo. It's finally been broken. Is that going to, be a weight off their shoulders, and suddenly next week they're going to play a lot more freedom and I guess mentally not have that sort of in the back of their mind anymore? So, yeah, it could definitely be a danger game for whoever gets to St John Oval next weekend.
Yeah, I think they well and truly deserve to be in that game, and I wouldn't want to be facing them, I don't think. So Brad Murray's got the ball on the tee. Graham Stair's got the whistle in hand, and all is in readiness here. Lakes United and Western Suburbs. Winner into the grand final. Winner gets a week off. And we're away. And the kickoff goes down. And fielded there by Justin Smith. And they're going to have a big forward, Ryan Petro, bringing it back for the first hit up of the afternoon. As you can hear Graham Stair barking instructions there. One of the loudest referees in the real NRL, I think it's fair to say. It looks like they're set well and truly that it'll be Stair and Taylor for the rest of the season. You'd have to think John Taylor would be the favourite for the grand final.
I think so, yeah.
Look out, Stair's given the first penalty of the afternoon. So Mark Tafua held down too long there by the Lakes defenders, particularly Casey Burgess, and West are going to get a little ticket out of trouble here in the first set of the game.
That was a couple of controversial calls in last Sunday's game that Graham Stair made, but talking to Gavin West during the week, the referee's boss, he felt they were the right decisions and he certainly backed his two whistleblowers for the rest of the season.
So West with a great opportunity to attack early on here. And they're going over to that right-hand side. That's Peter Mannion dragged down over there. And they're looking right here, our left here, and they're going to Shillings. And that's a big charge. He's been doing that all season. Very damaging runner, whether he's up the middle or getting a bit wider. Knight out of dummy half, away to Brown. Out the back there to Smith, back inside to Ale. He's back in first grade and he's keen to make an impact early. And that was a good run. They're making good ground early here. Brown again, away to Tafua. He loves a snipe close to the line. And the backs are set out to the right and to the left. They're flat to the right. They go that way. Shillings, short ball at the back. Porter, he holds this up. It's a great ball inside to Peter Mannion. Well, there was a bit of hello chick stuff there. The old flick pass back inside, and Peter Mannion was good enough to hold it and fall over the line for the first points of the day. West lead at 4-0.
Yeah, he seemed to hold that pass up forever there, Jade Porter. It looked like he was not going to throw it, but at the last minute he has, and it was well taken too, and that great first try, and finished off a pretty impressive first set too from the Rosellas. They looked very strong, some good hard hits, runs by Warren Shillings and the like.
Well, we'll have a look here on the replay. And as they look to that right-hand side, they were set out deep to the left. You might have fancied them to go that way, but Shillings and then Porter, and then the little flick pass for Peter Mannion. And he probably wasn't expecting that pass. But as I said, he was good enough to take it and get over the line. And Lakes, well, they find themselves 4-0 down before they've touched the ball.
It's been a good season from Jade Porter. I felt that when he played here probably the first couple of years with Brad Murray, they seemed to get in each other's way a little bit, and not sure who was running the team, but I think both Murray and Porter both probably kicked on having playing on separate sides now, and definitely I think Jade Porter's had his finest year since he played in those grand final winning sides for the Pickers.
So it's Joel Brown with the ball on the tee here. 2 minutes gone, and he's put it wide. He's put it to the left. So the try's not converted, and it's 4-0, 3 minutes in to the major semi-final here on Bar TV. Bit of a slow amble back to the halfway line from Brad Murray. And away they go again. A bit of a wonky kickoff as well. Down toward, it was nearly a very dangerous kickoff because it nearly wrong-footed Ryan Petro, and he ended up just reeling it in and getting back to the 10. And West start again. Lake's still waiting for the ball as here's Tafua. It's a slow play of the ball again, but they get it away now to Shillings. And he ran a good line back there on the inside. And now the back's getting involved. That's Callan Richardson. They get plenty of help from the back line to the Western Suburbs forwards. And Porter sticks this one on the left boot. And for the first time today, Lakes are going to pick up the ball. And it's Jack Mackin bringing it back. And he's past one, and he might be able to open them up there. The chase wasn't too bad, but he nearly found a little gap. And Lakes can build from the back here with Craig, and he's hit a bit high there in a strong tackle from Porter and Chillings. And now it's Ikanofo, and he does not cop any rubbish off the forwards. And they're rolling on well here, Lakes, early. Over the halfway in 3 tackles. To the right they go to Jeans. Oh, and he showed it and got belted. There's plenty of sting in the defence from West. They look up for this today. Adams took a long time to get that out. Now it's Burgess. He's got better and better as the season's gone on. I'm sure you'll agree, Casey Burgess.
Yeah, definitely. He's a lot of a couple of really good junior guys have come through this year for Lakes. I suppose people that a lot of people didn't really know a great deal about, but they've really stood up and played some great football. And yeah, Casey Burgess, James Mackin, they're all sort of Josh Charles. They've all been excellent, I think, all season.
Very strong take there from Justin Smith as Brad Murray hoisted that ball up into the air. He had success with that tactic last week. There's a shout for offside here against Murray, but he did it well. Out of marker, putting a bit of pressure on the West attack. But forward they come, and that's Ryan Lamb. And that's a very sharp run out of dummy half there. Simon Williams making good ground and getting that roll going, but it's last tackle. And Porter again with the kick. And this one's a high one. It might be a bit awkward there for Matt Craig, but he took it well. And again, they're running it back keenly, Lakes. Trying to move things on. And this is Varka with his first touch of the day.
Been a good upbeat tempo to this game thus far. Both sides are getting through their sets pretty quick.
Yeah, a little bit too quick that time. Mark Tafua jumping out of marker. And Stair says he wasn't square. With the tackle on Josh Charles. So Lakes this time get an opportunity to go down and put some points on. But you're quite right, it's been a quick tempo. Fast play the balls, and
it's beautiful dry conditions out there today. It's classic spring weather. It's exactly the type of weather you want to see for finals football.
And so Chris Adams is at dummy half here. And they're set out to the right with Burgess. And he looked for the pass, but decided to go himself. And they're inside the 10. Murray's on the short side here. They might look to go that way. But instead they go to the right, and it's Jeans. And he throws the short ball, and Sullivan couldn't reel it in. You could see what they were trying to do. Jeans attracted a couple of defenders, but Sullivan couldn't hit the hole and catch the ball at the same time. And Lakes turn it over with their first chance on the line.
Bit of a missed opportunity there. Looked like there was a bit of an overlap forming.
And it was a bit of a training ground move, you'd imagine. Always terribly dangerous having front rowers passing the ball. They draw the defence in. And so we've got a cuddle 10 metres out from the line. And Jermaine Ale takes it up. As I mentioned, back in first grade. He's had a few weeks in the reserves and had a few weeks on the bench. But back in the team today with Steve Gordon being out suspended.
Not too many clubs have the ability to bring a former NRL guy onto their starting lineup.
Out of reserve grade, you're quite right. So here's Knight. And the ball away to Mannion there. They've got Michael Hendry on the bench, so they can put Jermaine Ale into the back row if they need later in the game. Now Knight's out of dummy half, and he was taken very well by the marker. He couldn't scamper too far. And Porter's off down the right here, and they're going to try something on. And Richardson's got a bit of space. He's kicking back in field towards Mannion. And Mannion's taken down a couple of metres short. It's Matt Herman, in fact. But they've still got a tackle up the sleeve, do they? No, they're going to turn it over. So it was last tackle after all. But a good bit of enterprise early there from Wests. Going down the short side and running it on the last.
Certainly. Interesting talking to Coach Dean Botham a few weeks ago. He sort of mentioned that on that camp they had up at Anna Bay, they were talking about trying to let the players play a bit more with a bit more freedom. He said that earlier in the season he wanted to play more direct, but the players were asking do they want to attack more, and we're certainly seeing that today with some beautiful fifth tackle football down the right side.
Well, they were far from the highest point scorers this season in the regular season, and really didn't open up until that big win over Central in round 14. They've won the minor premiership this year mostly on their defence. But that suggests the attack might be a new priority as Murray puts this kick down, and you could see he was looking for the 40-20, but they had a bit of a committee back there to take it. And Justin Smith brings it back very strongly. Might have been hit a bit high there, Yeah, that's what referee Stair says. So again, West get an opportunity to plug it over the sideline and get a good bit of field position. Although, I think it's fair to say they haven't made the best of that opportunity. Thanks for coming, Joel Brown. About 5 metres he made there.
Well, it was looking better than initially. Initially, it looked like he might have actually lost ground with that kick, but
lucky a little bit of late fade on it. As here's Petro. And despite that, second tackle on the halfway line. They're well placed. It's over there to Shillings. Ryan Lamb down here on the touchline with chalk on his boots. He's standing right on the sideline. They're going to use the full width of the field here as it's 9 up the middle.
Just noticed a lot of orange boots out there today for West. I think about 4 or 5 players I've counted.
And it's the new extravagance of rugby league, isn't it? Here's Simon Williams. It's taken very strongly indeed by Josh Charles.
I'll be a part of those fat new Lambton contracts they hand out in the pre-season.
Let's go with that. There's the kick from Porter into touch. A bit of a conservative option there, really. They were in good field position. Must have been tempted to chuck the bomb up in the air, but Porter just drilled it into touch to make Lakes work it out. You mentioned the spring weather. It's fairly warm out there in the middle. There's a good bit of sun, and it might be a bit warmer than most of these players have felt throughout the season. So, as it was yesterday, fatigue might be a bit of a factor late on.
It might be a tactic too there from the halfback to try and kick for touch, give his forwards a bit of a break.
And so it's Ikanofo bringing it forward.
I think the thing with this season, because it's been so stop-start, there probably hasn't. Players maybe don't have as much football as they generally would, and maybe it might be a little bit fatigued, lack of match fitness. So especially West, who have had the week off. Yeah,
quite right. It's here's Ikanofo, and he's rocked back again there by Tafua. West have been going week on, week off for about 6 weeks now, and if they win again today, they'll have another week off. So you do wonder what it does to their continuity. Here's Mason.
Yeah, I think I was counted the other day. If they make the grand final, they would have played 3 games of football in about 6 weeks.
Yeah. It's not ideal preparation, is it? Everyone will be almost too well rested and a bit underdone. And so Adams gets this away. It's back to Sullivan for the kick right down the middle. And if this sits up, it might be all right, but no, it had far too much on it. And rattles into the fence down there behind the goal line. You've got to get it pretty right here, the very narrow in goals. The West bench is starting to warm up. It's funny when rugby league players do this. You just had Reggie Saunders and Colin Clark trotting up and down the touchline to warm up, and they've gone and sat back down again. As Herman's turned back there by the Lakes defence. It's away to Ale. As is the way in modern rugby league. Blokes the size of the forwards playing in the backs.
There's a couple of big, massive centres out there today, isn't there? Like Ale, as you just mentioned, and also Ikanofo. He's a big unit.
Yeah, be a good matchup out there. That's Herman with the ball again. He's been very busy early on. Now Shillings. Out the back to Petro. And Knight's out of dummy half, and he gives it away there to Porter. He met very strongly. Hayden Jeans got up on him and didn't let him get away with anything. That's what they need to do. They need to keep those halves quiet. It's back to Brown. Brown's going to chuck this one up in the air and give Mackin a bit of a test. It's high. There's not too much chase, and Mackin takes it well. And now he's going to go on a bit of a run. And he ran into Shillings on the 30-metre line. But again, Lakes think that they fancy these chasers from Western Suburbs. They're looking for the gaps when running the ball back. And this is Varka.
He's a very explosive runner, James Mackin. He's a really good turn of pace and really good on his feet. So, yeah, West are going to have to be careful with those kicks to make sure they go up in a good compact line and they meet him in defence.
This is Jeans. And he pops it out the back, and they won't want this Western Suburbs. They go to the left now with Murray. Over there to Charles. And Charles is in traffic, but he's doing very well. Back in field. The offload coming into play, and now Adams, he loves this with a bit of a roll on. Out to Sullivan. And last tackle, they've made good ground in those last couple, and they've got them going backwards. Adams, out there to Murray. To the sky. Pressure on Richardson here, but he does very, very well. He does really well and goes down under the tackle. And West's
good set though by Seagulls. I thought it was easily their best set of 6 of the game. Definitely, when they get Jeans doing a little bit of second phase play, it really makes a huge difference.
Certainly does, especially with Chris Adams just lurking around at dummy half. Always looking for a chance to run and get the defence backpedaling. It's been a bit of a slow set this from West. They've been driven back, but it goes back to Knight now. And they'll look to the right with Porter, and suddenly they've got something on. That's how quickly it can happen. And Richardson's off down the right. And he's held well by the defence. But you see the sudden change to attack there from West. And Porter sticks it on the boot again. Down towards Mackin. But he doesn't find the grass, and Mackin can have another snipe at them here. The defence is strong. The game's just slowed down a little bit since the early exchanges.
Yeah, both sides have sort of been pretty cautious, haven't they? Haven't really thrown too much at each other yet. But it's going to be a real arm wrestle, I think, all game between these two sides. The other games they've had this year have been pretty tight.
It was a similar story yesterday. The first half was very, very cagey. Neither side used the ball a great deal. And then it opened up in the second as players got tired and desperation set in. And it might be a similar story here today. So Adams gives it away to Murray. And they're late in the count again. And this is Hayes. I think that's his first run of the day. Josh Hayes. And Adams out of dummy half sticks it on the left. And he's hit Justin Smith on the chest. And it bounces out. And Lakes get a beautiful opportunity, 15 out.
Well, this could be a major turning point. It wasn't really a hard catch at all for Justin Smith, but he's made a meal of it. And you couldn't ask for probably better field position now for Lakes in the middle of the park, 20 metres out. This is a great opportunity.
It was a fairly innocuous looking kick, wasn't it? Adams just stuck it on the boot, and Smith was there, he was under it, and it just bounced off him.
Yeah, it looked like he probably shanked it a little bit. Maybe that's what sort of fooled Justin Smith. Maybe the kick was a bit of a surprise. He was probably expecting a bomb or the grubber, but he's just hooked it straight at him just about.
Yeah, that's right. Well, they set the scrum. Let's see what they can come up with. They're set out very deep here to the right. Lakes and Sullivan throws a short ball to Wikanofo, and it was forward. Well, that's schoolboy stuff. Off the scrum, 15 out, and the pass goes forward on the first attack.
You certainly can't give away that opportunities like that against West, can you? And they certainly was the best chance they've had all game. And as we saw, that's a blatant forward pass. It was right in front of the touch judge. Very easy decision.
Yeah, the timing was just wrong there, wasn't it? I think even Ikanofo expected the ball out the back and overran it, and Sullivan still threw it to him. And what you say is correct, that they don't give you many chances. You've got to take them. Now, the first changes are being made for Wests. Mark Tafua is being replaced by his stunt double, Reggie Saunders. The two of them really do the same job in the team. They've always, whether it's Tafua or Saunders, they've always got someone out there who's going to trample straight up the middle. And Colin Clark's come on as well for Ryan Petro. Now here's Richardson. A bit of work in the tackle there, but they go to the left. And Porter. And here is Saunders. Very hard to stop in there and does love an offload. But they get around him that time and get him down. Now Brown. And the pass, well, he had Matt Herman through the gap, but the pass goes to ground. Stair says play on, and Mackin's ended up taking a bit of a slips catch and bringing it back. Well, goodness knows what happened there. But Mackin's finally grounded 25 out. It all just came apart there for West. And Burgess, the world's biggest dummy half, taking it forward. And now Matt Craig. That's a great laces tackle there from Chris Knight. And Varka, they're using the backs here, Lakes. 15's on the field, that's Ben Sams. But he doesn't get the ball this time, it's out to Sullivan. And Ikanofo's handled well there by Ale. And Adams spreads it across to Murray, who's got a run there because they were up on him quickly. And the stab kick in behind's not bad. And Charles gets almost a knee on it, but it goes through. And Williams is going to go back and collect this. He won't be able to get out of the in goal. There's a decision for the referee. He's going to have a yarn to the linesman because there's a shout for a penalty here. Josh Charles was bowled over after taking the kick. And the referee's going to say penalty. Now, it probably looked fair at first look. We'll have a look on the replay, but
it was just a speed off the mark there from Brad Murray. He sort of got outside his own man and then a beautifully well-weighted kick, as we see here on the replay.
Yeah, pretty clear, wasn't it? Justin Smith, he wasn't really looking at the ball, came up and clattered Josh Charles out of the way.
But luckily for West that Simon Williams was on hand to race back and pick up the ball, because otherwise that was a try.
Well, they were almost forced into it, weren't they? They were up so quickly on Brad Murray that he had no choice but to run the ball. And it's dangerous when you do that. As the ball inside here to Hayes. Lakes looking for their first points. 20 minutes into the game on Bar TV. In the major semi-final. Here's Adams. Out the back to Murray. They've got the hole there if he can get the pass away. And it's Dylan Harton. And he hasn't got it down. He hasn't got it down. You can see the gap opening up from a mile away.
So we've got Brad Murray down in back play too.
Here's Sullivan. He's got the responsibility. He sticks it on the toe on third tackle. And they'll stop play now to have a look at what's happened to Murray. But on third tackle, Lakes have kicked the ball away. And the attack's just not quite happening for them at the moment. Still 6-0.
So, massive opportunity for Dylan Harton. He ran a beautiful line into a gaping hole, but the West cover defence came across and snuffed it out. But as we see here, Brad Murray down. He got hit late after he popped the pass.
Well, referee Stairs pinched his water bottle. Oh, he did get hit there. It was Jade Porter. It was halfback on halfback. And Porter even reeled out of it a bit sore. It was a big collision. You wouldn't say it was late.
No, it was a fair tackle.
But they both went down in a bit of a crumpled heap. Porter's since got up. Murray's in a bit of trouble. He went off injured, of course, in round 13 against Cessnock at Belmont and came back on and set up the match-winning try and converted it to win them the game. Well, he's on his feet now, trudging back, so he's going to restart play out on the wing and see how he goes, I suppose. Exactly a quarter of the way through this first half of the major semi-final. Western Suburbs 4, Lakes United 0. Morgan Campbell and Josh Leeson bringing it to you on Bar TV. So Knight's in at dummy half here, and he looked flat to Saunders and went out the back to Brown, and Porter takes it out there. Porter, despite having the 7 on his back, he regularly finds himself at second receiver. And this is Mannion. And Knight down the short side. He's going to kick here. Very early in the count. They want to be careful if it bends the wrong way. He was almost inside the 30 there. But Mackin gets a foot to it and brings it back. And look at that chase. That's what they want to see. He can run wherever he likes. He wasn't getting through there. And he was met very strongly. Here's Ikanofo.
Yeah, you certainly get the feeling from the first 20 minutes of this game that if Lakes are to win today, West are going to make them earn it every last point they scored. Defensively, they look very, very strong. Another hard hit there too. Getting up off the line quickly.
Yeah, Ben Sam's taking his first run. Now there's a shout for a penalty here because I reckon that when Chris Adams scampered out of dummy half there, he got a little ankle tap from Chris Knight on the ground. But they said it was all fair. Now here's Charles. His winger isn't with him, so he's got to come back in field. And he's taken a bit high there by Shillings. No penalty given. Ah, yes, there is. I spoke too soon. He was playing a rather optimistic advantage there. So it's a penalty to Lakes. So another opportunity for them. You do feel, though, that they've got to start taking these chances.
Yeah, I wonder, it's a lot of varying degrees of experience out there. You've got West Side, it's all been at the grand finals before, but you've got a Lakeside, I think, other than probably Adams and Murray, there's not much big game experience there. So we'll see how these young boys really fare up in these sort of games.
And another penalty here. The ball came out, but they're going to say that was Peter Mannion's doing. So they can plonk it into touch again. Very unambitious kicks for touch here. Just a stellar 11 metres made there. And away they go again. And this is Ben Sams carting it up very stoutly. The West defence was a bit slow off the line there. And this is where they can hurt. It's Adams out to Sullivan. What can he come up with this time? Sullivan, he runs it himself. It's been a good weekend for 5/8 running the ball. They both got a try yesterday in the Cessnock Macquarie game. Adams out the back to Murray. Murray short. Sams is absolutely clouted. Absolutely belted there by Shillings. And now Murray goes at himself and he'll be dragged down. There's a shout for the try, but they won't give it. And in fact, he's not even over the line. Couple of tackles left here. Adams over the top there to Sullivan. Sullivan out the back. And there's a run on here from Callan Adams. And they're looking right here and they go left. And Adams sticks it on the boot and it's picked up and there's a try. Or is there? Or is there? Stair's going to have a conference here. You can write your own ticket as to who fell on the ball as Adams stuck it on the boot. They're going to say a knock-on from Lakes after a knock-on from West, and it's going to be a dropout. Well, we'll have to have a look at the replay of this. Because it was fruit salad once the ball went in under the posts.
Yeah, it's a good kick. Adams really was just a bit of a lottery, just kick it in there and see what happens. And well, it's pretty hard to see what did happen until we see the replay here. He knocked it on, trying to put it down.
Yeah, I think that's what happened. I think it was Dylan Harton in the 11 who knocked it on, sweeping through to try and put it down. Oh, it must have been close. He had the ball in hand a couple of inches above the line, so it must have been close.
Yeah, he did all the hard work by picking the ball up at pace, but yeah, just couldn't get the ball down.
Here's Ikanofo, dangerous runner close to the line, and he's taken a couple with him. Lakes building up again. A bit of zing in their attack all of a sudden. Adams out there to Murray. Murray over the top to Charles. Charles out there to Varker. Varker will be hard to stop from there. They can't stop him from there. James Varker gets Lake's first try. And it's all square at 4-all. And that was just power and pace close to the line.
Well, they've been camped down here for, and it feels like an eternity, Lake, so they've really had to finally break through, and that's what they did. Was we saw a good try on the wing yesterday from young Malik, didn't we, out at Macquarie, and he had no room to move, and look, the same thing happened right here. James Wagner had minimal move, but these wingers these days, they can just
so good.
Contort their body in all sort of ways just to get the ball down. And
yeah, you've got to turn half chances into chances on the wing now, at whatever level you're at, and this is Varker. Callan Richardson, he didn't really lay a glove on him there, and Varker went through and tiptoed with the touchline and got it down.
Should be great photos there by Herald's photographer Max Mason Hubers there, sporting the Ned Kelly beard.
Right down in the corner, was he?
Yeah, he was had him right in front of him.
Very good. There's your back page for tomorrow, taken care of. And so Brad Murray's recovered sufficiently to try and put this kick over. And if he does, Lakes will have the lead. 15 minutes to go in the first half here, 4-all. And maybe because of the little roll on Lakes have got, Tafua and Petro are about to come back on. It was a short spell for them on the bench. So here's Murray. Oh, he's got the pitching wedge out there, dear oh dear. And that hasn't even made the try line. Plenty of elevation, but not the direction or the length on that one. So it remains 4-all. And down goes the kick. Joel Brown sending it to Sullivan. The raffle ticket man's out, harassing the crowd up in the grandstand.
You can get harassed up here sometimes.
Yeah, that's right. I know they would raise a hell of a lot of money by sheer persistence. That fellow, he's always very eager. Often when the game's going on behind him, as the ball goes down the short side. And this is Harton. And there's a bit more sting in the defence from Wests here. They're up quickly, and the tumbling take there from Hayes. Very well done. Could have easily have fumbled that. It was an absolute cow of a pass. And there's the 16. That's Callan Adams taking it forward. And Chris Adams is going to kick out a dummy half here, and he might try Justin Smith out again, but this time he takes it well and pops it inside. This is Lamb. Good position to start a set there by force of that defence. They're almost 30 out from their own line on tackle 1. And what you said is absolutely right. It's an arm wrestle early on here. Classic finals football. Not too many mistakes, not too many penalties. And both sides just sorting each other out early on. So Knight goes across here, and this is Colin Clark. And they might be able to have a crack at the old midfield bomb here. 40 out from the line. And it's over to Brown. That's exactly what he's going to do. He's going to test Mackin again, and this one's swirling away from him, and he takes it very well. Only just, but he took it, and now he's good enough to go on a run as well, but he's turned it over, and they're away on the right here, but Stair says no. He says, come back. Something's gone amiss there, and he's going to give a penalty for the strip, I think.
Oh, high tackle, I think, yeah.
Yeah, high tackle on Jack Mackin there. He caught it, and then so keen was he to have a run at them that he bounced to his feet and went scampering over to the left. And that's a relief for Lakes, because if he'd spilt it in that position, West would have been away on the right.
Yeah, he did get crunched there in that tackle. I think it was Warren Shillings, and his arms just come up a little bit high. We'll see here on the replay.
Oh, yeah, well, it seemed like almost like a shirt front sort of tackle, didn't it, from Colin Clark? Maybe that left arm did get up a little bit high. But it wasn't really clear cut, I don't think.
Bit like the old Anthony Minicello, the old cat jump into the chest of the opposing player.
Anthony Minicello, indeed. So Tim Harlow's on the field in 17 as here goes Adams out the back, Murray to Sullivan, and now it's Ikanofo, and Ikanofo's passed a couple here, and he's had to shove one of his own players out of the way, Jack Mackin, who passed him the ball and then had to clear out. Adams in a dummy half. They might try the short side again. No, back to the left. Murray, Harlow. He's still very hard to stop. Every week people mention, oh, you know, he's the oldest player in the real NRL, but he keeps doing the job. As here's Murray, and that looks a very good kick, especially if it stops, but it's not going to. It's not going to. And West can bring it back.
Yeah, he's a bit of a character, old Tim Harlow, isn't he? He's been a fantastic addition to the real NRL this year, coming down from Queensland. He's a bit of personality. He doesn't mind speaking his mind on the field either.
Well, he's been good for Lakes. He comes off the bench and makes a difference. He scored a couple of big tries. Here goes Jermaine Ale. And he's passed a couple of tackles. And the ball comes out. They're going to say strip. A couple in the grandstand you can hear don't agree. That affects Mike down there. You can hear a bit of additional commentary.
Yeah, the full colour and feel of Harker Oval.
Exactly
coming
right.
through your TV screen.
Exactly right. 500 experts, 500 referees and coaches, all giving their opinions. As here goes Herman with the ball. And they're set out very deep to the left over here. Callum Richardson's 30 metres behind the play over on that right wing. And Knight takes it up the centre. And Clark's in at dummy half. They might try something on here, but they go to the left to Herman. Feeds it out there to Ale. But the line's still set up. This might be the time it happens. It was a bit slow out of there, but Brown gives it to Saunders. He'll be looking for the pass, Reggie Saunders. But 4 of them get in there and take him down. And it's a slow play of the ball, which helps Lakes. Knight out the back there to Porter. Porter away to Smith, and the defence is strong again. They're very stout on their own line, Lakes. It's last tackle. Out the back to Porter, and he might try and swing this over to the other wing. Here's Brown, sticks it on the toe, and Mackin's there and takes it very, very well indeed before he gets belted by Joel Brown in a front-on tackle.
Yeah, the kick was too straight. Then he had a couple of runners out wide on here on the left and didn't angle it out towards the left. If he had, it might have been a big chance here for West, but instead he went straight down the middle and it was quite an easy take in the end for James Mackin.
Well, going down the middle like that, it meant that he was really the only one who could chase it. He was the only one with any chance of getting there. And I suspect he was the only one that knew the kick was coming as well. As here's Varka. Eight minutes to go in this first half. It's been tense and cagey for the most part, a try each. And there's Justin Smith, and a big tackle there, but a perfectly legal one from James DeSax, who was up quickly and swung him to the ground. The game's just waiting for a spark, you feel. There's been a few like that this week. Similar thing on Friday night with the Roosters and the Storm. They're both just sort of feeling each other out and waiting for a bit of quality to light the game up.
Yeah, so semi-final football, I think, everyone's a little bit nervous. The players are all a bit nervous, and
Oh, look out, there's been a boot thrown. You see that? There's an orange boot, so that could be half a dozen of the players, but there'll be somebody out there on the field who's running around in a sock because one of the sympathetic Lakes players, it's Matt Herman, who's lost the boot, and he's now got it back off the trainer. But whoever the Lakes player was, he just flung it over the sideline as if to say, there, go and fetch that.
Who throws a shoe, honestly?
I know, it's outrageous. I remember James Maloney pulling a similar thing a couple of years ago in the NRL. I think there was one last night as well in the Canterbury St George game. Yeah, a bit of ill sportsmanship, you'd have to say. No, we don't say that. We say gamesmanship, don't we? Bit of gamesmanship from Lakes. But nonetheless, it's a good opportunity. On the halfway line, they can set up again.
Well, we aren't playing for sheep stations today, but we are certainly playing for a first spot in the real NRL Grand Final. And we can see the ground on Hunter Stadium there in the background today. And I know both these sides would love to play on there. I mean, it's a huge opportunity for either side. Only a handful of players on either of these teams have ever played on that turf before, so I'm sure they'd love to get out there in 2 weeks' time.
Absolutely. It does add something, doesn't it? The fact that it's at a big ground like Hunter Stadium. It does add a bit of prestige to the occasion. As here's Jay Sullivan past the first tackler. Big chance here for Lakes on half-time. It'd be a real sickener for West if they got across. Adams away. Here's DeSax. The crowd are roaring them on down there. Adams out of dummy half. He's almost to the line and he gives a short pass there to Callan Adams, who's not far away at all. But it's last tackle. And they chose to run it on the last, and they took the risk. And that time it didn't come up for them. They love that play, though, Lakes, don't they? Just sending big forwards at them at the advantage line. But that time it didn't work. Good defence from West.
A couple of times today, it looked like they're going to score off that play, but yeah, West just scrambled really, really well. Their one try's come from a shift out to the wing. But
big shot.
Wow.
Big shot. Peter Mannion there was on the end of it. It was Brad Murray who came up. So halfback on second rower, and he made him hurt.
Yeah, so those ribs of Brad Murray's must be okay because we saw him go down probably 10 minutes ago, but that would have given them a good test out, and they came through with flying colours.
Quite right. Here's Chris Knight at a dummy half. I know Chris Adams is the best dummy half in the competition, but I think Chris Knight this season's shown he's right up there in the mix with him. Him and probably Chris Hyde, I suppose. Yeah, all the Chris's in the real NRL.
Yeah, Chris Knight was pretty much just a sub player, wasn't he, at South for a few years, and always had a lot of speed and ability, but probably a bit of a shock that he's probably become the number one hooker at West, but he's played well, he's earned his spot.
He's doing a really good job, I think. Here's Craig. That's a good charge from the winger. But they really have been camped in the West half for most of the second part of this first half. The last 20 minutes, it's all been up this end of the field. Adams away to Harlow. But having had that dominance, they need to make it count. Great boost going into half-time if West could hold them out. Adams. Away there to Murray. Out there to Mackin. And Mackin really just running sideways there, and they dealt with him pretty comfortably. Last tackle. And Murray, what can he come up with? He'll go to the air. And that's got plenty on it, and all the chasers will be there. Ikanofo got a hand to that, and it's still alive there for Lakes, but they're going to say a knock on from Ikanofo. And West will get the ball back again.
Yeah, fantastic kick there. Caused a lot of problems. The West, I think Jermaine Hale was trying to get underneath that, and he didn't look comfortable at all taking that high ball. So bit of a let off there from West. As you sort of said, yeah, it's really been all Lakes down this end of the sort of the northern, southern end of Harker Oval today at the last sort of 15 minutes, I suppose. So West are hanging on though with some great defence.
See it so often from West, don't we, that they hang in there, and they might get battered for half of the game, but then they'll come out and get the points. One chance, one try.
It's been the story of the season. I don't think they've really dominated teams like they probably did in past years. All their wins have been pretty gritty, and certainly haven't blown anyone off the field.
Yeah, I think that's right. Certainly the games I've seen. Here's Tafua. Back onto the field, as I mentioned. He had about 5 minutes on the bench. But the original bench has been restored down there for West at the moment. It's the starting 13 on the field. Here's a charge down, and Knight will get this back, but they're saying it's still last. And
well, he said last, and then he changed his mind, and it was too late for poor Chrissy Knight. He'd already put a boot through it.
Well, he had the boot on the ball as Knight comes up and absolutely clouts the fullback now. Yeah, you're quite right. Stair held the hand out to say 5, and then just as Knight was kicking it, started doing the waving the fist about to say 6 to go. So I think West are entitled to be a little aggrieved there, and even more so now because there's a penalty. And there's 2 minutes to go. So Lakes are going to get one more chance to make this count.
Well, I think if they concede a try now off these last couple of minutes, you might see Dean Botham being very, very filthy at referee Graham Stair. But
I would reckon. So Adams getting out of dummy half. And that's the 15. That's Ben Sams. Lakes have used all their bench in the first half. Here's Adams again. He's trying to light them up. He gets it away to Murray. And Murray goes the early kick. Smith's not back. But he doesn't need to be because it was too deep. And the Lakes chase couldn't get through. There won't be much more time here. They might get the dropout in, but they won't get too many plays because there's only a minute to go.
It's probably the right option there. They did catch West out of position, but, well, interesting pass off the tap.
Indeed. Straight into the turf. So 58 seconds to go here in this first half. And this is Mannion, who's played a full half of the game out there on the fringe in the second row and put in a very good shift as well. Here's Smith trying to get something going. They might try something on late on here, West. There's not too much risk involved, you wouldn't think. Richardson trying that short side defence. 30 seconds now to go in this first half of the major semi. Away to Brown. They are going to try something on here. It's out to Ale, but Ale's wrapped up by Ikanofo. That has been a good battle out there. The two big centres getting up in each other's faces. Now Brown goes the chip and chase. He was held back by Harlow, but he still got there. But Mackin, or in fact it was Harton who fell on the ball. They're going to say it was a knock-on from Lakes, but there won't be time for the scrum, and I think these players are going to call a truce, and that'll be it for the first half. Sure enough, the siren's about to go, and that's all there's time for in the first half here. As we said, a tense and cagey opening to the game. West 4, Lakes 4 at half-time. Josh, your thoughts on that first half?
Yeah, as you said, yeah, very cagey, very even, real arm wrestle. I think Lakes have probably obviously had the advantage territory-wise and probably had a slightly bit more ball, but West have been very good in defence. I think it's obvious that it's really going to take one key bit of magic or even maybe a brain snap or a mistake that's really going to decide this game. It's going to be very tight down to the wire because these two very evenly matched sides, and they're both working very hard and tackling strongly today.
Well, we'll go to the break here on Bar TV. 4-4 at half-time, and the game just needing a bit of brilliance to light it up. Come back in a few minutes, and we'll be here for the second half of the major semi-final.
Real guys, real sport. Bar TV.
Well, welcome back to Harker Oval for the second half here of this major semi-final. It's Western Suburbs 4, Lakes United 4 as you rejoin us. Josh Leeson, what do these teams need to do if they're going to win this game?
Well, I think for Lakes, they probably need to start taking a few more opportunities. They had a lot of ball in that first half and had all the probably the majority of the territory as well. Probably a few bad options, but I don't think anyone's really doing anything too wrong. It's just been a really good, hard game, and both sides are really defending well. Hasn't been too many mistakes.
It's just been five tackle kick, really, hasn't it? It's been
maybe
both sides just not wanting to make a mistake, as you say.
Maybe it's going to take that little piece of brilliance, someone just to take a risk of a chip and chase or a long pass or that sort of thing. It's really going to. I really suspect this game won't be decided until the final couple minutes.
Oh dear!
Wow.
Well, that's a disaster off the kickoff for Lakes United. Dear oh dear! The ball just pitched in the turf. It was an awkward-looking kickoff because it was spinning back and didn't have a lot of depth on it. And as it pitched and went into touch, Harton tried to grab it, but he was already over the sideline. So West, well, how about that? 30 seconds into the second half, and they're going to get a set 20 out straight in front of the posts.
Well, that's a lucky break someone needs, I suppose, to really break this game up wide open. And if you had a try here, would be the fantastic start for Western Suburbs in the second half.
That's right. So here's Jermaine Hale. He's been very strong in this game so far. You wouldn't know he's been coming up from reserve grade. He's been really strong out there in the centres. He's probably just shading Ikanofo as they get it away now to Brown. Brown short to Shillings, who puts it on the deck. The opportunity is missed. Well, they've got away with it, Lakes. They're in about the same position they would have been off the kickoff just a minute later. And here's Ikanofo.
Yeah, pretty uncharacteristic mistake there from Warren Shillings. He's normally very good, but it seemed like a pretty simple drop. Just obviously had a little peek at the line before he had the ball in his hand.
So Sullivan's got the ball here. Notice the offload from Josh Charles on the other side of the field to where he usually is. And they're up quickly in defence now, West.
Yeah, they're probably a little bit too one-dimensional, weren't they, in the first half, Lakes? They were just trundling it up and didn't really throw much. You see Tim Harlow, fantastic run up the middle from the 39-year-old.
Absolutely, big charge, and maybe a bit of second phase and a bit of offload and all that stuff's what they need. That's a knock on. That's a knock on there from Dylan Harton.
Well, terrible pass there by Brad Murray. Didn't make it easy at all for his second rower.
Not at all. So all of a sudden, the mistakes are in the game. It was a pretty neat and tidy first half, but we've seen two mistakes in the first two sets of this second half. And Knight gives it away to Tafua. And Knight again, away this time to Petro. They've got their starting props on the field. The starting bench players are still down there on the bench. They've only made two changes so far today, West. They're keeping plenty in hand, and that might be important later on, as here's Williams. Porter out there to Brown. Brown over there to Herman. Herman holds it up. It's a great ball there to Justin Smith, and he looks for the offload. It's a wild pass out the back, and Brown ends up falling on it. They might have been better off without that offload from Smith. But the play goes on. Last tackle. Porter. And it's a bomb without too much height on it, but Mannion does very well. Miracle ball to Richardson, and it's a forward miracle ball.
Wow,
well,
what a try that would have been if that was allowed. Probably the right decision from Stair, but fantastic skills there by Peter Mannion.
We're going to have to get the replay of that just for Peter Mannion's family as much as anything else, just to get a look at that bit of skill. That had a bit of the Nathan Friend about it earlier this year with the Warriors. Falling down, catching the bomb and throwing it back over his head.
Yeah, it seemed a little bit too cruel to disallow that try. It was
absolutely
just great skill from quite a big man too.
You can see the kick goes up and he throws it. Geez, I reckon that's only close from Mannion to Richardson. It didn't. I must say, at the time, I didn't think, it might be a forward pass. So possibly a little bit harsh on West. They were certainly going to score over on the right. So a bit of controversy early in the second half. We're 3 minutes into it. 4-4. And this is a run from DeSax, and he's just broken them open with nothing on. James DeSax. Absolutely nothing doing there. A standard hit up, and he's carved them open. And now they've got numbers to the left. And Murray puts it on the left foot, I think almost by mistake. And Charles goes up, and Varka should fall on it. And everyone's had an air swing. And they'll bring it out to the 20 for the knock-on from Charles. So Varka Well, he won't be too upset at himself for missing it. But out of nothing.
Yeah, James de Sachs, he's quite a small man. He's just cut them open and I think beat about three defenders, and it's only a nice round the laces tackle from Chris Knight that sort of snuffed out that opportunity. But and on that kick too, Brad Murray with the left foot. It, nearly brought another try for Lakes. It was wasn't cleaned up at all by Western Suburbs.
So both sides getting a couple of chances early on here. Maybe it is just opening up a little bit. This is Lamb. Knight and Petro. The forwards getting through plenty of work. Now Knight again out there to Porter. Porter dummying. He's thrown about 9,000 dummies there before he finally gives it to Mannion. And Mannion's got a bit of space to run in. And suddenly the second phase is on. Look at that. Now it's Knight up the middle. And they're finally taken down 15 out. That was good play from West. There's a little bit more in this game all of a sudden. Smith away to Brown. Brown puts it on the boot. Mackin's got to be good here. And he's got to be careful because there was a chase through the middle from Herman. But the nerves prevailed for Jack Mackin. And the ball goes dead.
Certainly in the second half, it's been much more lively, hasn't it? Obviously, looks like the message came from both coaches to sort of, try your hand a little bit more, get out there and try and make something happen, because there's been a lot more offloads from both sides.
Now, the old style tap and go there from Callan Adams. What do you make of that? He's put it on the turf. That's fraught with danger, you would have thought. There's a reason people don't tap like that anymore. Anyway.
He's a traditionalist, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. A bit of nostalgia. So they go away to Harlow now. And he's dumped that time. That's a big tackle from Shillings. He's had a gutful of Harlow running up the middle of them. The trainer giving some attention to one of the Lakes players behind the play, and the referee giving some attention to the West players and giving Lakes a penalty. Right on the halfway line. It's a terrific position.
He's a KGL veteran, Tim Harlow. I think he's sucking him into that. It was well done for Lakes. They're going to have a fantastic opportunity here. Probably they'll get the ball back, you'd say, about 30 metres out. Or 40 metres out, sorry. Or 45 metres out.
There's not a lot of intent with these kicks for touch, it's fair to say. Now, I think that was the 16, Callan Adams over there. It was getting some treatment. He's back in the line now and looks like he's okay. So the magic water might have been applied there. Is this a huge tackle on Ben Sams? He's absolutely dumped. Tafua and Knight, the biggest and the smallest man on the field, doing the work. And now de Sachs. And they're a bit more keen to get up and hit him this time. What have Lakes got? 7 minutes into the second half. Adams. Murray. Long ball out there to Charles. He's got a bit of work to do back inside to Varka. And Varka's still scrapping with them. They've got a few tackles in hand here. Murray. And it's a straight up and down run from Harton, who throws the offload out the back. Harlow had it up off the boot. Now Murray. And Murray goes down with it. Last tackle. They've got them spread right out to the right. They haven't used the backs too much in attack today. It goes over to Sullivan. He throws a short ball, and it all came apart for them there. That wasn't the play, you would have to say. And Ryan Petro comes up with it for Wests.
It was always going to be difficult past that one, but some nice touches there in that set from Lakes. They look most dangerous, I think, when they come here on this left side with through Josh Charles and Varka.
It seems, as I said in the first half, they seem to want to keep rolling over the top of them with the forwards, and the backs aren't getting enough attention, I don't think. Because they do, you're quite right. They do look dangerous when they do get the ball. So Ale gives it away now, and Herman. And it's all just a little bit slow in the middle of the park there. Justin Smith up in the line doing a bit of distribution. So Knight goes left. And the kick goes down. And Craig's going to field this nicely. And they're going to come back hard here, Lakes. He's getting some instructions from the trainer who's waving him on. Only one trainer on the field at the moment. Interestingly, I don't know if you picked up on this, Josh, but we've got a special guest touch judge today. If you look over on the far side, that's not Greg Ryan over there, it's Greg Ricketts. And I don't know what happened to Greg Ryan, but a late substitution. So there you go. When we said there were no team changes, we didn't mention the officials. as Varka gets past a couple of tackles he had no right to get through. And he's still going.
Went down the warm-up with a hamstring or something?
Something like that, I don't know. Quite possibly. Here's Hayden Jeans. Adams, they've got a little bit of a roll on here, and he's going to stick this on the boot and buy a ticket in the lottery, but it's got far too much on it. Far too much. That never looked like pulling up. So it comes to nil again, and it's maybe the 6th or 7th time that Lakes have come down to the West's end of the field and not come up with anything. Oh, that's a stout tackle on Justin Smith. You think Lakes might be getting a bit nervous here, Josh? They've had a lot of chances in the game and haven't made much of them.
Yeah, definitely. I think they've certainly had the majority of the opportunities, but and West, they're sort of they're going to grind all day, aren't they? So they've got to start taking them. But
Here's Tafua.
But I think both sides will be getting pretty nervous. I mean, no one seems, it's real an arm wrestling. No one's really landing that killer blow yet.
Well, that might not have been a killer blow, but it was a pretty savage one around the rib cage of Jade Porter. It was a big tackle from Jeans, as now here's Brown. And he's held pretty well.
And Lakes really started to build a reputation as sides that can win games late too. So
could be heading to the grandstand finish. Here's Porter on the left. There's plenty of elevation on the kick, and it's right on the try line, and someone will fall on it for Wests. And the referee is going to pull it up and have a yarn to his linesman. There's an inquiry here. Callan Richardson it is who's claiming the try. And the referee is going to award it. He's given West the try. So the kick right on the try line came down, and Callan Richardson falls on it. And West's, out of nothing really, have their second try and led it 8 points to 4.
Well, it's certainly not going to go down as a semi-final classic, this try, but it could go down as being a very important one.
Well, it was all very slow, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like but neither side seemed to have showed too much enthusiasm about it. All the crowd.
Let's have a look at the replay up there when it was Mannion who contested it. And in the end, it might not have been Richardson who fell on it. It might be, we might have taken one off it. It might have been Mannion in the end who got it. Richardson was under it. They're in the contest. It goes down. And Richardson's hands are there, and Mannion's hands are there. And I reckon it's Peter Mannion who scored the try. We might have sold the ground announcer a dummy there.
Yeah, weird leap there from the fullback, James Mack, and he seemed to jump up for the ball, but never actually tried to catch it. And
so Joel Brown wastes no time with the kick and puts it wide, and it's 8-4. So a very strange incident there. The kick, when it's on the try line like that, it's very dangerous, isn't it, with the defenders having to stand still and the attackers being able to run onto the ball. And there was just too much turbulence there for the Lakes defenders to hold the ball. So they find themselves kicking off, and Murray spears the kick-off down. It's a pretty dangerous one, and Richardson had to use all of his volleyball skills there, and then a pass out in front of Petro that he wouldn't have appreciated. So a couple of nervous moments for Dean Botham as West come off their line. And this is the 17 on the field for the first time, David Dryden. He wasn't named in the squad through the week, but Felici Tafeo dropped out, and David Dryden came in that headgear. Now there's a ball from Saunders.
Got a couple of well-known people in the crowd here today. We'll see Jared Mullen down there with Alex McKinnon watching the game down below the grandstand here at Harker Oval.
Oh yes, quite right, down there with a couple of the Lakes people.
It's good to see some of the Knights boys getting out and supporting grassroots rugby league.
Yeah, absolutely right. As the ball comes away now, and it's Knight. And Knight swings it across there to Reggie Saunders. And they're well placed for the sucker punch here, West. They've absorbed a lot of pressure. And this would be painful. Brown goes up. And there's a contest again. And again, it's nervous there for Lakes. It was a real scrum, but this time it was knocked on by West, and they'll get away with it. But they're not looking confident under that high ball.
No, it was a real sort of hesitation about trying to make a leap and catch the ball today from the last sort of few minutes from Lake. So I imagine Jade Porter is going to keep going to the air with that sort of he's getting that sort of result.
I never understand why they let it bounce. You really are creating a lottery. Anything can happen once the ball bounces, but that's what they've been doing. And now they're trying to spread it. They're trying to use the ball on first tackle, coming off their own line. And he might be around them here, Josh Charles, or he might be into touch. You want to be careful. I reckon this will be a penalty. Yeah. It was a second effort there from the West defenders.
Yeah, that's a coach killer there. It was a dumb tackle. The momentum had certainly stopped, and they've dragged him in the touch. It's always tempting when they get that close to the line, but they've sort of let Lakes off the hook. They could have had him pinned down in their own half.
And forward they come with Ben Sams. There you go, a bit of encouragement from the crowd. As I said, there's hundreds of referees up there, all experts on the game. Adams gives it away to Hayden Jeans back on the field. That's a good charge, and the forwards are getting involved here for Lakes. They're sending the heavy artillery at them. Adams going for a run himself. He hasn't done that yet today. And he opened them up. And suddenly Wests are backpedaling. What can Lakes come up with? Their attack needs to do better. Here's Murray out the back there to Mackin. And he was taken very, very well by Joel Porter. Harton away to Murray. And again, they force him to run it. And this time it's a shonky old kick off the left, which is taken out there by Craig in connection with Ikanofo. And suddenly the play's a bit broken up. And this might suit them as they go across to Murray. And over there to Varka. He's got plenty to run through. It's back to Murray again. It's over there to Charles, and he's absolutely belted in a copybook tackle front on from Callan Richardson. And West survive and get the ball back. 25 minutes to go here. West lead at 8-4.
Yeah, strangely enough, it might be their go, actually, to those sort of that broken field sort of play, because whenever they've, the West defence is so well structured, they're not really finding any space. But that time, they broke them up a little bit, but still, West are scrambling so well. Another great tackle from Callan Richardson.
And so they're bringing it out from their own line. They've done so much of this today. And Callan Richardson's bringing the ball forward. And he's getting it back again. And he might be dangerous if there's tired defenders in there. We saw that yesterday, that the backs really came into the game in the last 20 minutes as the forwards got tired. And a penalty late in the tackle count for the strip. Dear, oh dear. Dean Noonan won't be happy with that one.
Yeah, a bit touch and go that one. It was a very loose carry from Callan Richardson, but the way referees are, they always side with the attacking side generally, and this is going to be a big opportunity here for West. They should get themselves deep into Lakes territory.
Well, they've just had the run of it the last few minutes, haven't they? So 40 metres out, they start another set. And if they scored again here, they'd be setting a big total for West to have to run down in the last 20 minutes. Knight at dummy half. Out the back to Porter, and they're up on him quickly. And they might not have been the best tactic there, because suddenly he's got a bit of space. And it looked like the under 8s there for a minute. They were all following the ball. Knight over to the right to Mannion. No, he goes the other way. He fooled the commentator. And it's Dryden. Over there to Brown. Brown short to Reggie Saunders, who did not have a glove laid on him. And he's been able to stroll through like he was walking the dog on a Sunday morning. And he goes over for the try. It's 12-4 with a kick to come. And Wests, well, they've set the challenge out well and truly now.
Yeah, speaking of dogs, he looked like a big Great Dane, didn't he, going through that hole there? Just breezed right through. No one could stop him. He's a big man, and when he's got plenty of space, very hard to stop that close to the line. And beautifully well-timed pass there from Joel Brown. Just classic hole running. Yeah,
I think there'll be a bit of disappointment with the defence. I don't think Reggie Saunders is known for his sidestep, but he went past a couple there. And all of a sudden, Wests, well, they've not had the better of it over the course of the game, but we've said it before, they get the chances and they score the points. And that's what matters at the end of the game, not field position or territory or possession or any of that. It's who gets the tries when they get the chances.
It's very warm out there today, and both sides have done a lot of tackling, so it's going to open up these last sort of 20 minutes. So it's just a matter of if Lakes can stay with West and create their own opportunities. But at the moment, West are certainly getting on top, and they're the type of side that they don't give up when they get that ascendancy.
The high stepping of Greg Ricketts just flashing across your screen at the moment, or not quite yet. But there he goes. He's the fastest touch judge in the real NRL, I reckon. And he really puts in with the big long strides down on that far touchline. But the kick goes over, and it's 14-4 with 21 minutes to go in the game. And so Justin Smith takes this on the full, and he's got plenty of room to run here. Lakes have to find something. In the big games this year, when they've been in these positions, they've found so far. Can they do it today? And Matt Herman's dumped on his back. So Knight gives it away to Saunders, who's got a bit of confidence, and he's got a pass in him, and suddenly they're getting a bit ratty, and it's Lamb off down the touchline, but he's bundled over the sideline in a great piece of defence from Matt Craig, and it needed to be. It absolutely needed to be, because Wests all of a sudden have got the roll well and truly on.
Yeah, massive tackle. If they scored there, it pretty much could be lights out for this game, but yeah, Lakes are hanging on. But yeah, Wests are really starting to up the ante, aren't they? That quality is starting to come through. And that's the big fear for Lakes after having so much territory and ball. They really needed to get on ahead on the scoreline, and they're now trailing by 10 points against the West side that certainly doesn't let go.
Well, decent field possession to start this set. Here's Varka. West's doing the job so far. They've turned under pressure to nearly running away with it in the space of about 10 minutes. And Lakes need to start using their backs. They need a bit of attacking intent. They've got no choice now, as Josh Hayes up the middle. Casey Burgess coming back onto the field in your screen. Away they go now to Sullivan. Sullivan to Mackin. And Mackin again doesn't get the chance to pass, but he does get away from the tackle. And if he can get past this one, it might open up for him. It's Jack Mackin for Lakes. They're set out to the left. They go that way. It's Murray. Murray stepping. Inside ball to Hayes again, who's clouted. And it's last tackle. And he's going to call it up here. There's a bit of push and shove. Look out.
So Dylan Harton and Dave Dryden, by the look of it.
Just a mild disagreement. Still a little bit going on out there. Chris Knight's on the deck, getting some assistance from the trainer. Is Stair going to call anyone out, or is he just going to try and calm everybody down? He's drinking from one of the West water bottles this time, in the interest of fairness.
Get those germs spread around evenly.
No, nobody called out. He'll have to wave time back on, and West will have to ruck it out from 5 out from their own line. Time ticking away. 19 minutes to go here on Bar TV in the major semi-final. Morgan Campbell and Josh Leeson bringing it to you, and I hope you're enjoying it. As this is Jermaine Ale. The winner of this game goes through to the grand final on the 27th at Hunter Stadium. The loser plays Macquarie next week, next Sunday, at St John Oval, and of course, it'll be live on Bar TV, as well as there's a knock-on. There's a knock-on there from Simon Williams. And Lakes have got a great opportunity here. 25 out centre field. And if it doesn't happen now, you've got to wonder when it will.
Yes, this is the opening they desperately need. Great attacking opportunity, 40 metres out, centre of the field. I'd like to see them try and use their back line a little bit more. Let's see what they can do.
The scrum's a great opportunity to do that. And it's Murray out the back there to Mackin. He's been getting the ball a lot out there, but he hasn't had the opportunity to pass it too many times. As Charles out of dummy half, looking for the offload, and he shouldn't have thrown that one. I think he'd acknowledge he shouldn't have thrown it, but they're going to get away with it, and they're going to get 6 to go. So that's made a mug out of me as Casey Burgess is tackled. And Adams. Suddenly there might be a bit of risk-taking about them. Hayden Jeans just charging for the line, putting his head down and setting sail, and he might have got there. I think he has. What about the charge from Hayden Jeans? He was just running like it was a brick wall there, and he bashed his way through. He had no right to score from that position, but you can read about it in the paper tomorrow. 14-8 with a kick to come.
Hayden Jeans, he's turned into a try-scoring machine. Last week, he in a similar instance, he barged over like that, and then today again. But as you said, Morgan, fantastic strength from the veteran. He's been around the real NRL scene for a long time, and and he's a terrific player. He's played a lot of rep football, and that could be one of the most important tries he's ever scored.
Yeah, it's a simple game, rugby league, isn't it? He just put his head down and charged at them, and the kick's been put over as well straight away by Brad Murray. Geez, I didn't take long with that. So Brad Murray has just lined it up and put the kick over. We might need to have a replay of that kick because it didn't take long. So 14-10 with 17 minutes to go. Lakes have hit back, and it sets up the grandstand finish in the last quarter of this game as Varka carts it forward, and the crowd are starting to get on their backs now, get behind them. Varka's driven back by the defence. That was very strong. They took 10 metres off them without the ball there, West. And Adams, well, there's a bit of confusion all of a sudden in the Lakes attack. This is where they need their forwards because you know West are going to lift. Lakes have to lift with them. Adams away. And Varka has his second run. And forward they come. Up to the 40. They've really rescued the set from a pretty wobbly start. That's Josh Charles. And now there's a juggle, and Burgess did well. Last tackle. Adams away. Murray. No sign of panic in that kick. They've still got plenty of time, and he just runs it down to Callan Richardson. And Richardson brings it back. There's no time to be cagey now. It's Lamb.
See Mark Tafua coming onto the field too as well. That's West are going to certainly need him to get him home in this final 15 minutes because Lakes are lifting.
Well, it's rare you see it, but they've got Saunders and Tafua on the field at the moment. They usually swap them in and out, but they've got them both on now as Jermaine Ale takes it forward. That was their 7th change. Petro off, Tafua on. Warren Shillings has got the 8 card in his hand. He's about to come on. Rob Mason's got a card in his hand. He's about to come on for Lakes. He's the 8th change as well, so they're going to have 2 each till stumps here. And a kick down there to Varka, who got down on one knee like he was proposing to his dearly beloved and took the catch very nicely. Charles, there's got to be a shout for offside there. There was from the crowd at the very least, but now there's a run on. Up the guts they go. A bit of second phase stuff from Lakes.
Yeah, he's such a strong player, Josh Charles. Every time he has the ball, he's looking for that offload, and more often than not, he pops the pass.
Adams away. And this is the Big 10, Burgess. And they've got the roll here, Lakes. And Tafua tried to ankle tap Adams, and he did more than tried. He did it very well, but they get it away to Jeans. And Jeans will try it on again. Tafua came back and hit hard. You can see what this means to him. Away they go. Murray, short there. There's a run on there from Harton. And he's nearly there. He's going to reach out and put it down. What about the strength of Dylan Harton? And this is all desire from Lakes. It's the second time in a couple of minutes that a forward has aimed for the line and kept wrestling and fighting and got the ball down. And again, he had no right to score there, but the big number 11, Dylan Harton, gets across for Lakes, and it's 14-all of a sudden.
Well, for all money, it looked like he was going to be held up there, but he just kept fighting, and in in the end, he got that arm free and just popped it over the top and planted the ball. Certainly it's game on now.
I don't think you could say anything about double movement here. It didn't look like a particularly bold play there, but he just kept wrestling and fighting. There you go, just reached out. And he was still moving all the way. It was perfectly legal.
So massive kick here from Brad Murray, and we've seen this year already that he's certainly no stranger to taking important kicks from close to the touchline, and more often than not, he nails them too. So
yep,
I'd be backing him in here.
Yeah, he drained one against Wests at Belmont a few weeks back, well, early in the season, to put them 2 points in front there. He did the same against Cessnock in round 13. Can he do it again? He's right on that mark that signals 10 metres in from touch. On the 20. He's getting plenty of encouragement from the press box, from the Lakes timekeeper, and from the crowd. 13 minutes to go. It's Murray. It's not going over. It's to the left. The linesman didn't like it. It started all right, but it bent to the left. So it's 14 all with 12 to go here. And just like yesterday, we're going into the last 10 minutes with either side a chance. The finals are delivering in the real NRL.
Well, it's been the closest competition I can remember, and most people can remember in the real NRL this year. I suppose having 8 teams, it's had some detractors, but it's also been extremely competitive most matches, and the final series are playing out just the same way the competition did. It's all been very, very tight.
So Sullivan spreads it, and it's noticeable that their attack has improved since they started using the ball a little bit more, and maybe going wide a little bit more often and doing the second phase stuff has opened it up for the forwards up the middle close to the line. And this is Jeans again. He wants the ball every play.
Hasn't he just grown a leg in this last 10 minutes? He's been fantastic.
Look at this. They are galloping forward here. This is Hayes. And it's last tackle. They're up to halfway. Out to Murray. And again, they're up quickly on him, and they're making him step and making it unpredictable. But that's a bit of a dud kick. Richardson will be back to the 40. So good positioning here for West. They won that little exchange. Plenty of encouragement from the grandstand. You can hear it in the effects mic. Smith had a juggle there. Dumps it out the back. And it cost them 10 metres. Championship rounds on Bar TV.
You just get the feeling it's going to be one mistake or one super pass or sidestep is really going to determine this match. Just got that feeling. It's getting very nervous out there.
There you go. That's the sort of thing that can change it. Peter Mannion, well, I reckon he might have a career as a dairy farmer after rugby league, because I think they've got a bit of milking involved there. But Graham Stair reckons it was a penalty, and he's the man whose opinion counts. The leg pull. And it's Brown, forward to Tafua.
Yeah, that certainly had full cream, that one.
Yeah, very good. We could keep this dairy thing going for about 10 minutes, I reckon. Here's Brown, out the back to Smith. Turns it inside to Ale. There'd be a story if he scored the winning try. They go to the right. Brown and Saunders. And they've got all their best weapons on the field here, Wests. And they're sending them all at that Lakes United line. There's 10 minutes to go. Porter going sideways a bit at the moment. He turns it inside to Mannion. He tried that in the first half and it worked. It didn't work in the second. And Casey Burgess, he's staggering and staggering. And he was almost crawling by the end. But he gets to the halfway line and they're a bit skittled here, Lakes, but they go the short side. It's opening up this game, and Jack Mackin's gone down like he was just decked by George Foreman. And I don't know if there was a bit of theatrics involved or whether he really did get absolutely clouted. It might be a little bit in the middle. Poor old Jack Mackin.
Well, I was watching the English Premier League last night, Morgan, and I saw that was bigger dive than I see in those games.
Well, it was certainly very dramatic, but it was also certainly a high tackle. And this is bubbling away beautifully now. 9 minutes to go, 14 all. And just as West had a chance, now Lakes have got one of their own. Who can take one? Here's Harton.
It'll be too early for a Brad Murray field goal.
Well, inside 10 minutes, it's been a tight game. It would certainly put the pressure on West to come up with something. They might be thinking about it. Here's Jeans. And hasn't he lifted the side? He's been one of the main men in this recovery. And they're deep to the right and to the left. They go to the left. It's Murray. Murray holds it up to Hart, and why not? He did it last time, but this time he spills it, and the referee's going to say knock on. The referee's going to say knock on.
Yeah, their argument went backwards, but I've never seen a referee change his mind. So
no. Interestingly, we mentioned the heat earlier on. You just look down on the Lakes bench there. They've got some wet towels around the neck trying to stay cool. So obviously the temperature's something they factored in, although I think the 4 o'clock chill would be well and truly in effect by now. If that breeze picks up anymore, they might be throwing those towels aside.
That was costly for Lakes, because you think they probably may have worked for the field goal from a Brad Murray or Jay Sullivan, but as you said, would really put a lot of pressure on West to come up with something, be it a try or even an equalising field goal. But now West can truck it out and kick for good field position.
Well, we saw a field goal attempt in yesterday's game, but unfortunately, we saw two actually. One of them was charged down, the other one hit the post. But the one that hit the post was right on half time. Cessnock trying to go 7-4 in front. which was very unexpected, but it didn't go over. But players in the real NRL, they don't get too much field goal practice, so it'll be interesting to see what happens if it comes to that. Here's Herman. Of course, should the score remain unchanged for the next 7 minutes, there'll be... Oh, look out. What do we say? Oh, no, go back. 15 centimetres.
Well, I've seen Jade Porter kick a couple. He kicked a famous one, I remember, in a semi-final up at Maitland when he played for the Pickers against Westside from memory. Yeah, it got them into the grand final. So, and that was from a long range, probably 30, 40 metres out from memory. So he's certainly capable.
So he's put this kick down, and Matt Craig's absolutely belting it back at them in a couple of forwards. You've got to be brave to do that. He ran straight at Warren Shillings there and said, do your worst. And it was a pretty strong tackle in response. I was about to say, if the score remains unchanged, 5 minutes of extra time one way, and then as long as it takes the other way until there's a score. We had a 48-minute extra time period in the Group 21 grand final on the weekend. Might need the floodlights here at Harker Oval. As Josh Charles, he's been very good taking the ball out of dummy half today. The 9th change is warming up. And there's a penalty to Lakes. It was Hayden Jeans who's just come off. There's a bit of an off call from the grandstand. I think that's horribly optimistic, but it was a high tackle according to Stair. And you hear on the mic, I don't know if that viewer's picked that up, he just said to Tafua, calm him down in regards to Warren Shillings. 6 minutes to go. And a great chance for Lakes here. I think you're well and truly in field goal range now, both on the clock and on the field.
Yeah, definitely. They certainly have to have a look at it. I'd be very shocked if they don't work for it this time.
Yeah, quite right. So it's Callan Adams. 20 out with a full set of 6. What have they got? And this is Burgess. He's been very strong today, especially in this stint on the field. Adams turning it inside to Hayes. It opened up for him there for a minute, but he was taken down.
Well, this would be a great chance to go for it if they want to.
Yeah, they might. They go to the right. They're not going to take it this time. It's Sullivan. He turns it inside to Ikanofo. He barrels past a couple. Ikanofo, is he strong enough? And is he quick enough? The defenders got back well. 4th tackle. You won't get a better chance than now, but they're not setting up for it.
No, Murray's on the left.
They go to the left. They're going to try for the try. Murray, can he hold it out there to Charles? He can. He can get it away to Charles. Never mind the field goal. Lakes have gone over for their 3rd unanswered try. And from 14-4 down with 15 to go, it's 18-14 with 5 to go.
Well, Brad Murray played a very important role here at Western Suburbs for a couple of years and helped him win a couple of premierships. But right today, he's mortally hurt his former club by setting up a try which could be the match winner and could put Lakes through to their first grand final since 2007.
Well, that's why you pay halfbacks good money, to take risks like that in big moments. And there, everyone was shouting field goal. Everyone was thinking they'll go back to the centre, card it up and put the one over. Not Brad Murray. They wanted the short side. He took it down the short, got held in the tackle and got the offload away. And Josh Charles, who's been one of their best today, falls over the line. 18-14, 4 minutes to go. We have a look on the replay here. Adams knew what was going on. Murray was calling for it. And it was the pace close to the line. He attracted so many defenders by hitting it up strongly. Brad Murray from the sideline. Look at the players out here. You can see the Lakes players whipping up the crowd. I reckon Lakes have got the numbers here today. And Josh Charles is whirring his arms about and encouraging them to make as much noise as possible. Here's Murray for a 6-point lead. It's coming around. I think it's over. Yeah, I think they think it is too. The linesman reckons it's over. 20-14 with 3 minutes to go. Wests have got to score and then convert. Wests have got to score and convert, and they're going to take the short kick-off. That was as predictable as fish on Good Friday. It's over there towards Hendry. He's not going to get it. Is it in touch or is it with Varka? It's with Varka. No, it's Ikanofo over there, but he said a knock on. Wests are going to get a chance. Wests are going to get a chance here because Ikanofo's knocked it on. And with 2 and a bit minutes to go, they can pack a scrum and have one last go at levelling it.
Wow, what a dramatic last 10 minutes we've had, and would not surprise at all if we have a lot more drama here yet in these final couple of minutes.
Interesting call from both of them. He's taken Justin Smith off and brought on Michael Hendry in the 16, who gets his first action of the day in the last 5 minutes. But he's a very lively player and could be a weapon around some tired legs. Here's Mannion. Out the back to Knight. There's going to be a lot of this for the next couple of minutes. A lot of those offloads. Here's Tafua barrelling forward. 2 minutes to go. What have they got? 3-time premiers, Western Suburbs. It's out there to Williams. He's looking for Richardson, who's come back inside, but he's thrown the pass to the ground. And Lakes fall on it. To rapturous acclaim. And if they're good with the ball, West probably shouldn't get it back. Listen to the crowd. The West voices are out now. And they're howling injustice about some of these plays. Adams over there to Hayes. He's been tremendous today, and that's a tremendous hit from Mark Tafua. There's a minute to go. Exactly a minute as I said that. Sullivan puts the kick down. It probably isn't the kick. He should have found the touchline, surely. But Hendry has a chance with his first touch of the game. No pressure, son. 45 seconds to go. And that kick down the middle has given West a full set in possession, you'd imagine. Here's Lamb. They'll need to do more than that. 30 seconds. Clark. What's the play? Oh, it's come out. There won't be a play. There won't be a play. The ball's come out from Colin Clark. Isaac Hayes has got it. There's a bit of a stink on. Oh, look out. It's Colin Clark versus the whole of Belmont at the moment. And they've called time off. There's 11 seconds left on the clock. There won't be time for much more. You wouldn't think West will get it back here.
I saw in the back play there, Chris Adams sort of keeled over a little bit. Not sure if he got hit by someone in that sort of little melee that sparked up or what, but...
Well, if our cameraman can pick it up, the 4 Lakes players on the bench are ready to run on. They are going to celebrate like they've won a grand final here today because they've made one. They finished last year by a hell of a long way, Lakes United. They last won a premiership in 2007 and they're in the grand final in 10 seconds' time. It's Rob Mason who brings it out. Get ready for some noise on Bar TV. You might want to turn your sound down on your computer here because the siren's about to go. Jay Sullivan puts it into the crowd and Lakes are in the grand final. They're the first team there. From 14-4 down with 15 minutes to go. They've come back and they've pinched it. And they've done it on the back of a lot of heart and some big men standing up when it counted. 20 points to 14, the final score. West, they'll have to play Macquarie next week at Central to get that other spot on the 27th. Josh, your thoughts on the game and maybe a man of the match?
Well, what a story. It was only 2 years ago. They didn't win a game all season, and now they're through to a grand final. It's been a tremendous rebuild from Dean Noonan and all his staff out there at Belmont. And, probably, 10, 15 minutes ago, it looked like West were coming home. They were up 14-4, but this Lakeside just refused to wilt and refused to die, and they've come back with a couple of tries. And, fantastic performance. And that's 3 times they've beaten West this season, so you nearly have to back them for the grand final, wouldn't you? They'd have to be the favourite now. And man of the match, I just think Hayden Jeans, he was tremendous that last sort of 20 minutes. He really gave him that impetus to get back in the game.
That try that he scored, that's the sort of moment that lifts a team. They were flagging badly at that stage. West had turned it on them. Lakes had the better of the game. West had got the points, and it could have all disappeared for them. But big Hayden Jeans got the ball 10 metres out and said, I'm scoring a try. And that's what he did. And Lakes, well, they get a week off to think about it now. West, they've got to back up next week. It's been a tremendous game here today, as was yesterday. The finals have really delivered this weekend. And I thank you very much for joining us on Bar TV to take you through it. Thank you, Josh Leeson, for your able assistance this afternoon. I've been Morgan Campbell, and I hope you've enjoyed this game as much as we have. We'll see you next Sunday with Pete Jolly at St John Oval, Dudley, for the game between Western Suburbs and Macquarie. And we'll see you again, if you're a Lakes fan, on the 27th of September, when they've got reserve grade and first grade in the grand final at Hunter Stadium. we'll leave you now with this rapturous applause from the Lakes United supporters, and we'll see you next week. From all of us here on Bar TV, it's bye for now.
Real guys, real sport. Bar TV.